Hello, I'm Louis Carosello, and welcome to a presentation of my midpoint review. I have chosen to talk about my progress in the Master Digital Arts courses by presenting two pieces of my art that have recently as yesterday, been in exhibitions, and contextualizing them in an art historical movement. Exhibiting is one of the methodologies I have chosen to expand my artistic experiences and knowledge. And I feel I've been more thoughtful in the work I've been submitting for exhibitions as a result of the work I'm doing in this course. It has forced me to examine my own practice. And while researching digital art techniques with an eye to the development of tools, inventions, and technologies, I see parallels to the influence these things have had on the development of art movements throughout history. In this course, I'm focusing on American pop art because this movement was omnipresent during my early artistic training. And as a result, it has a lasting impact on my own development as an artist. And now I'd like to take a look at some of the artists that influenced my artistic practices. Robert Rauschenberg. Rauschenberg picked up trash and found objects that interested him on the streets of New York City and brought these things back to his studio where they were integrated into his work. Rauschenberg wanted his art to be something other than what he could just make. By using what he found, he played with the idea of surprise and serendipity. His work is marked by a sense of collectiveness and the generosity of the streets. Rauschenberg allowed the object to be changed by its context and therefore became something new. Andy Warhol. Warhol's early jobs were doing drawings for Glamour and for various magazines, book jackets, holiday greeting cards, and at one point he was the highest paid graphic designer working in New York City. But in 1960, Warhol began to make his first paintings based on comic strips and Coca-Cola bottles. In 1962, Warhol made paintings of dollar bills and Campbell soup cans, and his work was included in an important exhibition of pop art, the New Realists. In 1964, he began the operation of the factory, which became his main studio. At the factory, contemporary forms of printing, technology, and commercial art methods were explored and embraced, and a spirit of collectivism prevailed. Roy Lichtenstein. After being denied tenure at Ohio University, where he worked and taught in an abstract expressionist style, Lichtenstein moved to the East Coast, and by 1961 he had created the type of image for which he became famous. This body of work included advertisement illustrations, common objects such as string, golf balls, kitchen curtains, slices of pie, or a hot dog. Lichtenstein was best known for his paintings based on comic strips, with their theme of passion, romance, science fiction, violence, and war. In these paintings, Lichtenstein used commercial art methods, projectors to magnify, spray gun stencils to create dots that make the picture look like a newspaper cartoon. Okay. These three artists are bound together by their approach to art, which embraces contemporary technologies, looks for found objects and images for source material, and plays with the idea of high and low culture. I've embraced these influences openly with my current efforts. Bodhana 2. Inkjet print on canvas combined with an assemblage of found objects to create an image of the perfect woman and a shrine to womanhood. Bit of a backstory. Bodhana was first conceived in 2007 as a print and later as an assemblage sculpture, which was displayed at the Art Echo exhibit in 2008. The sculpture was lost in Florence during 2009. Bodhana 2 is an effort to refine the original concept of the perfect woman and introduce more relevant found objects to create a more literal shrine environment. X is an assemblage of found objects combined with a graphic skull, reflecting the dangers of toxic waste while reveling in its iconic images. Technology's influence on creative ideas. Technology is a tool, and although computer technology is the first tool to expand the mental capacity of man, it is still a tool. All tools/inventions prior to computing dealt with extending man's physical capabilities. They all have a goal of improved performance. And current computer internet technology is no different. It's just broader in its reach and its scope, as reflected by the depth and diversity of my classmates' proposals of digital art. Development of new printing technology affected what and how creative ideas were produced and presented. In the 60s, there was a proliferation of printing techniques available to artists. Large-size formats, new colors, photosensitive silkscreen, day-glow inks. Today, as in the last decade, the computer, software, and the internet have assisted and expanded the creative choices and venues an artist has. Take scale for an example. With advances in digital imaging and printing, it is now possible to present on an almost unlimited scale. Scaffolding art, advertising is commonplace. Posters are wrapped around 20-story buildings. Pop artist Claes Oldenburg used scale in his drawings and sculptures as an impact point. By taking an object like a spoon and making it 100 feet long, he made the usual unusual and allowed the viewer to see the aesthetic beauty magnified by scale. My fascination with the ordinary has been lifelong. At an early age, I created drawing studies of telephone poles. My entire life, I've collected found objects and enjoyed storing, sorting, and assembling them. It all just came naturally to me. By seeing aesthetic value in the mundane, I felt I was always surrounded by treasures. My goal is to express this in my art, to communicate the concept of rediscovering the neglected or banal, and to give it value the viewer can relate to.